Hi everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 374. It's time for Korean Discoveries Part 4. Let's look into multiculturalism in Korea. So we're talking about cultures, but it's multi or multiculturalism, meaning several cultures. So if we say multicultural or talk about multiculturalism, we're dealing with many or several different cultures. Okay, so let's talk about that today. All right, helping us out today will be Mary and Martin with today's actual talk conversation. So let's begin by listening carefully.
How long have you lived in Korea?
I am just about to touch on 8 years now.
Wow. So you've seen it change quite a bit, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. Yourself?
Yeah, I've been here for 5, and I've always lived in the Itaewon and kind of Haebangchong Gyeongnidan area. Now I'm near Seoul Station.
Okay.
But when I first moved here, it was mainly foreigners hanging out in that area.
Yeah.
And I loved it because of all these different types of international foods, Indian, Middle Eastern food. And now there's a lot of Korean people coming to these areas. I think Koreans love food.
Yes, very
They
much.
share food with each other, kind of it's friendship, it's love, it's nourishment, it's everything, right? And I think these areas have kind of become a way for them to experience foreign culture a bit.
Yeah, it's like it's a window into a foreign culture, but at a
Right.
safe distance as well. So
Right.
you can dip in and dip out of it quite easily.
Much cheaper than in buying an airplane ticket, right?
Yeah, much cheaper than going over there and doing a whole 2 or 3 months and sightseeing and experiencing. But it's a good start, isn't it? I think for Koreans, a lot of the time, when they go on vacation, they always take kimchi with them and ramen with them
Yeah.
in their suitcase, which my school kids did when we took them around Europe last
Yeah.
year. So I had to go through their suitcase and take out food.
Confiscate.
Confiscate their food and then eat it in the evening myself. But for them, it's a real good opportunity to see how comfortable they are being out of maybe a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then it allows them to think, okay, I can go on to the next stage.
Right.
But yeah, certainly in Korea, food in terms of multiculturalism and Korea growing and being accepting of foreign influence has really changed.
Great example.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. That was today's actual talk conversation, and we had Mary and Martin helping us out. Today we're talking about multiculturalism in Korea. So let's check out what these two had to say about today's topic. Okay, here we go. First of all, Mary says, how long have you lived in Korea? Now, this is a very simple question, okay? You would ask this question to somebody that's been here for some time. How long have you lived in a certain country, in Korea? Martin says, I am just about to touch on 8 years now. Okay. Just about to touch on 8 years. Now, touch on something or touch upon something means to mention briefly. In most cases, it means to mention briefly. Usually, I guess, in a spoken description or written description, if you mention something very quickly or briefly, you're touching on something or touching upon something. But here, it's used slightly differently. Okay, it means to approach or to near something. So he's saying, I'm just about to touch on 8 years now, meaning it'll be 8 years very soon. Okay, I've been here for almost 8 years. Now, Mary says, wow, so you've seen it change quite a bit, right? It here she's referring to Korea, things in Korea, the changes that have been made. So you've seen it change. So you've seen Korea change, okay, while you were here for 8 years. He says, yeah, quite a bit. Yourself? And was omitted, but I added that just to help you understand. It could be taken out. That's what Martin said. Martin said, yeah, quite a bit. Yourself? meaning what about you? How long have you lived in Korea? Mary says, I've been here for 5. Notice, she doesn't say 5 years, but she just says, I've been here for 5. I've been here for 5. Obviously, they're talking about for how many years they've lived in Korea, so she has just omitted or left out years. She just says, I've been here for 5. I've been here for 3. I've been here for 10, meaning 10 years, 5 years. And I've always lived in Itaewon. So she's talking about the neighborhood she's lived in. I have always lived in Itaewon, okay, in that neighborhood. And kind of the 해방촌 or 경리단 area. So she's saying that she's lived in places or neighborhoods such as the Itaewon area, 해방촌 area, or even the 경리단 area. They're very close by, right? And she says, now I'm near Seoul Station. So this is where she lives now. She lives near, close to Seoul Station. But when I first moved here, it was mainly foreigners hanging out, meaning spending time together in that area. Okay, so she's talking about that area, meaning the Itaewon or 해방촌 or 경리단 area. So what is she saying? When she first came to Korea, it was 5 years ago, right? She's been here for 5, meaning 5 years. So when she first came to Korea, it was 5 years ago, and she lived in neighborhoods such as Itaewon, 해방촌, even 경리단. Now she lives near Seoul Station. But now, when she first moved here to Korea, it was mainly foreigners, okay, hanging out, spending time in that area, meaning what? The Itaewon or 해방촌 or 경리단 area. The point is, there were mainly foreigners in that area. I loved it because of all these different types of international foods. She liked those areas or those neighborhoods because they had all different types of international cuisine, international foods such as Indian, Middle Eastern food, and now there's a lot of Korean people coming to these areas. She did mention when she first came to Korea, it was a lot of foreigners, but now we see a lot more Korean people coming to these areas. And she mentions, I think, Koreans love food. Yes, Koreans love food. She moves on. They share food with each other. Yes, it's all about sharing, right? Koreans love to share. And she says it's friendship. Sharing food, it's about friendship, it's love, and it's nourishment. Now, nourishment can be something that's very nourishing, that's helpful, that provides, that's something that's good for you. But nourishment can also be encouragement, okay? So things that are very good for you, nourishment. We'll go over this word later on in more detail. Basically, she's talking about the culture of sharing food. It's about friendship. It's about love. It's about nourishment. It's everything, right? And I think these areas have become a way for them to experience what? Foreign culture a bit. That's true. I do agree. Itaewon has become a very foreign area. It's a place where you can experience all different cultures, right? All different cultures, countries, international cuisine. So she's talking about that. Moving on, Martin says, yeah, it's like it's a window into a foreign culture, but at a safe distance as well. So he talks about a window into something, meaning that it provides a deeper understanding of something, a deeper awareness of something. It provides insight. So he says it's like a window into a foreign culture. It's where you can get a deeper understanding of foreign cultures, but at a safe distance as well. He says you can dip in and dip out of it quite easily. Dip in and dip out. What does that mean? Okay. Usually when we go to a swimming pool, let's say for example, or even when you go to a sauna, okay, there are these hot tubs. There's also the ice cold, freezing ice cold tub, even at the swimming pool. You may dip your toes into the water just to check the temperature of the water, to see how cold it is, to see how hot it is, right? You dip your finger in the water and you pull your hand out. You're dipping in and dipping out. Here he's talking about what? Dip in and dip out. You're in there and out of there very quickly, meaning you experience something, okay, briefly, very quickly. A little bit of something. You're experiencing a little bit of something. You're going there to visit and you're leaving very quickly. So that's what he's saying, okay? You can dip in and dip out of it quite easily. Much cheaper than buying an airplane ticket, right, she says. That's true. It's better than, or I wouldn't say better, but it's cheaper definitely than buying a flight ticket. Much cheaper than going over there. That's right, going. Where? There, meaning to all these foreign countries. He's saying you don't need to travel to these different countries to experience their culture. You could just go to Itaewon, for example, dip in and dip out, experience different cultures there, and doing a whole 2 or 3 months of sightseeing and experiencing. He's saying there's no need to do this. Sightseeing, we all know, okay, when we go on vacation or go to foreign countries, some people like to go on tours. They like to go sightseeing, right? Basically meaning to travel to different places, different locations, to see all these things, to experience by seeing. Okay, that's sightseeing and experiencing. I think for Koreans, a lot of the time when they go on vacation, when Koreans go on vacation, what happens? They always take kimchi with them, and what else? Ramen with them in their suitcase. Which is, I think, true. I don't really travel with kimchi much because I worry that, the package or the pack of kimchi will explode in my bag. Some countries do not allow foods to be brought into their country. But anyhow, sometimes I do take instant noodles such as ramen when I travel for a long period of time. But he's saying most Koreans, a lot of Koreans travel with kimchi and ramen in their suitcase. And he gives an example, which my school kids, he's talking about the students that he teaches, did when we took them around Europe last year. So when they traveled to Europe last year, they took kimchi and ramen. So I had to go through their suitcase. Go through something could mean to experience, right? But here he's saying he went through in the past tense. He went through their suitcase. It means he looked through it. He searched their suitcases and he took out the food. I had to go through their suitcase and take out food. Take it all out. Take it out of the suitcase. And Mary says confiscate. This may be a new word for many of you. Confiscate. Confiscate. You might have heard it many, many times. Confiscate means to seize. An easier way of saying it would be to take away. 빼앗다. Okay, to take away. So you can have your driver's license confiscated. You can have something confiscated, which means to be taken away from you. Okay? So she says, yeah, you took them away. You took the ramen, the kimchi away from them. Okay? Yeah, confiscate their food, he says. And then eat it in the evening myself. Okay, this part, he's kind of joking. He's saying, yeah, I took the kimchi and the ramen away from them and I enjoyed them. He's kind of joking, so keep that in mind. Anyhow, he says, but for them, it's a really good opportunity to see how comfortable they are being out of maybe a comfort zone. So it's a good opportunity. For them, it's a really good opportunity to see how comfortable they are in a foreign country without things that they're used to, such as kimchi, food that is, being out of their comfort zone. We talked about comfort zone a long time ago. A comfort zone would be a place or a situation, okay, in which you feel most comfortable in. But in a foreign country, you may not feel the most comfortable. So he's saying it's a good chance, it's a good opportunity to let them know or let them feel comfortable in a foreign country without the things they're used to. Anyhow, Mary agrees by saying, yep. Moving on quickly. But certainly in Korea, food, in terms of multiculturalism. We took a look at in terms of, right? Relating to. Multiculturalism, it can be pronounced multi, meaning relating to several cultures. And Korea growing and being accepting of foreign influences has really changed. So he's saying that multiculturalism and Korea growing and being accepting of foreign influences, we're talking about the things that affects the actions or the behaviors of people. These things have really, really changed. And that brings us to an end to today's actual talk conversation. Now, take a listen to it one more time, and then we'll go over the patterns and the vocab words very quickly. Here we go.
How long have you lived in Korea?
I am just about to touch on 8 years now.
Wow. So you've seen it change quite a bit, right?
Yeah, quite a bit. Yourself?
Yeah, I've been here for 5, and I've always lived in the Itaewon and kind of Haebangcheong, Gyeongnidan area. Now I'm near Seoul Station.
Okay.
But when I first moved here, it was mainly foreigners hanging out in that area.
Yeah.
And I loved it because all these different types of international foods, Indian, Middle Eastern food. And now there's a lot of Korean people coming to these areas. I think Koreans love food.
Yes, very
They
much.
share food with each other, kind of it's friendship, it's love, it's nourishment, it's everything, right? And I think these areas have kind of become a way for them to experience foreign culture a bit.
Yeah, it's a window into a foreign culture, but at a
Right.
safe distance as well. So you can dip in and dip out of it quite easily.
Much cheaper than in buying an airplane ticket, right?
Yeah, much cheaper than going over there and doing a whole 2 or 3 months and sightseeing and experiencing. But it's a good start, isn't it? I think for Koreans, a lot of the time, when they go on vacation, they always take kimchi with them and ramen with them
Yeah.
in their suitcase, which my school kids did when we took them around Europe last year. So I had to go through their suitcase and take out food.
Confiscate.
Confiscate their food and then eat it in the evening myself. But for them, it's a real good opportunity to see how comfortable they are being out of maybe a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then it allows them to think, okay, I can go on to the next stage.
Right.
But yeah, certainly in Korea, food in terms of multiculturalism and Korea growing and being accepting of foreign influence has really changed.
Great example.
Yeah.
Was it a bit easier for you to understand what these two are talking about? Okay, hope the answer is a yes. All right, then let's go over the vocab words we selected from the actual talk conversation as well as the patterns. Okay, we've got 2 patterns for you, waiting for you after these vocab words. First of all, we've got nourishment. Let's check out the pronunciation. Nourishment, here we go. Nourishment. Nourishment, we're talking about subsistence, okay? We're talking about what? Nourishment, something that encourages or provides encouragement. Okay, so we're talking about nourishment, something that encourages the development of ideas or even feelings. Keep that in mind. Sightsee is an easy one, but just in case, we've selected it. Tour, explore, travel. These all can be synonyms for sightseeing, but it would be closest to touring, okay? You could tour a certain area, not just to listen to things, not just to read about things, but sightsee, to watch, to see things as you travel, okay? So it's a tour that you enjoy, especially by looking at things. Moving on to confiscate. Here we go. This could be tricky to pronounce. Confiscate. 2 more times. Confiscate. Confiscate, which means to impound, expropriate, basically means to take away, to seize, take away. Some people say that confiscate could mean to steal. I guess in some situations it could mean to steal, but we're basically saying that confiscating means to take away something, okay? Just take away. Not exactly steal as in secret, but just to take away. And multiculturalism, okay? You can say multi or multiculturalism. Multiculturalism, one more time, multiculturalism, we're talking about a diversity of several different cultures. And influence, here we go. Influence, we're talking about the effects or impact. Clout, these are all synonyms, especially the effects or the actions that affect your feelings or your thoughts, your behavior, things such as that. These are all influences. Moving on to our first pattern for today. To touch on, I gave you two different definitions. You can touch on something, meaning to near, to approach. That's how it was used in today's actual talk conversation. Martin was saying he was just about to touch on 8 years, meaning it's almost been 8 years since he's lived in Korea. Touch on something or touch upon something, okay, U-P-O-N. Touch upon something could also mean to mention briefly or quickly in writing or in spoken description. So let's take a look at a sample sentence. During the presentation, make sure you touch on the annual budget. So in this case, we're saying, during the presentation, make sure you briefly mention the annual budget. Make sure you talk about the annual budget. Very briefly, very quickly. Okay? Here's one more pattern. A window into something. This means to provide insight, right? To provide insight, a deeper awareness of something, a deeper understanding of something. So, the goal of this project is to provide a window into corruption. Here we go. The goal of this project is to provide a window into corruption, a deeper awareness on what? Or about corruption. Okay, please do go over these patterns and vocab words more on your own.